Let's go to that story today that David Crisafulli has given a golden handshake. I'm assuming it was because of the contract he had to a bloke called Mike Kaiser, who was under the former Labor administration in Queensland, one of the senior bureaucrats up there, so within the public service. Only he's one of the biggest ALP political operators we've got in the country. He's been a campaign chief for Labor. He's been on the inside of the political machine. Well, he gets a $400,000 payout by the Queensland taxpayer, and then almost immediately he pockets that money. He gets picked up by Albo and made the bureaucrat-in-chief of the Climate Change Department. Now, help me unscramble this, because Dan Wild, you know, the political staffer and the public servant don't usually trade jobs like this bloke has for much of his career.
Well, that's right, but sadly that is often the case these days, and I think, you know, the era of having a independent, impartial public service is sadly well and truly behind us, and you know this from your time in politics and in and around government. You know, Labor does a very good job of getting their guys in there. That's what they do. When, you know, everywhere you turn, you're tripping over former Labor staffers who are in positions of authority in the public service. Now, I'm sure that there are some, you know, who still do the right thing, but at the end of the day, maybe this is the only way you can get rid of these people, because I think if you're a new government coming in, you've got every right to have the people in the positions that you think are going to be needed to carry out your government's agenda. In Queensland, Labor was there for 10 years, so you'd assume that there'd be a lot of Labor appointees and Labor operatives in and around the government. But, you know, certainly I think that this is just further evidence that, sadly, you know, you cannot trust the public service to be independent and impartial. Many of them are political operators
but just remember, look, I agree that they should be able to hire and fire and put their people in, or people that they trust that are not going to be advocates for the other side, into these senior public servants' jobs. But I really object to a hardcore political operative like that being appointed into a position like the Climate Change Department. You know, I have no confidence now in anything that's going to come out of that department. It's a $900,000 job. It should be to a senior public servant who is there to do the public's bidding, not the ALP's work.
Yeah, well, I certainly share that view. And I think this does, as you say, further erode the trust in the public service, unfortunately. And there are many people there that do the right thing. But, you know, I think that, to me, this also shows that Labor really plays hardball. You know, when they get into government, they don't muck around. They get their people into positions they want in order to execute an agenda. And I just think that's the reality of modern politics now. And I think the coalition needs to be taking notes. Don't let these people hang around when you get into government, because you've only got one shot to get the job done, and you've got to make sure you've got your people in the top jobs.
Yeah, sadly, I think they're dragging politics down, and then the Libs have got to match them on you know, how bastardised the whole thing's become. I'll leave it there. Thank you both.